Tonight on To The Point, California suing the Trump administration over tariffs.
Where the hell is Congress? Where the hell is Speaker Johnson? Do your job.
Why state leaders argue Trump is abusing his power, and how California Republicans are responding. Tariff troubles at California's ports.
They're turning around container ships that were headed our way.
What's next for workers and the impact to your wallet? Plus, a new bill proposing tax credits for adopting shelter pets, how it could work. But first, it's the Kings' final shot at the playoffs. We take you to Golden One as they get ready to take the court.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and tonight it is make or break for the Sacramento Kings as they get ready to play the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA play-in tournament. This is a live look over Golden One Center tonight, where the teams are set to face off. Tip-off coming right up at 7 o'clock. We'll take you out onto the court in just a moment, but first I want to get over to ABC 10's Garshpal Sangha. He's joining us live from outside of the stadium. Garshpal, a lot of excitement from fans tonight over this game. How is it feeling outside the stadium?
Yeah, Alex, that energy has only been building as we go hour by hour. So we got fans pouring into the Golden One Center. We got Tom's Watch Bar has a DJ. The Doco area has a DJ. So the energy is high outside. We will see how that will translate when this game starts at 7 p.m. And as you mentioned, this is a do-or-die game for the Sacramento Kings. Win and advance. Lose, and NBA basketball won't be back in the capital city until late October. And for the fan base this year, had high expectations with the addition of DeMar DeRozan, but with the slow start to the season and forced changes, which mostly everyone knows about. But we spoke with a few dozen fans, and here's what 3 of them had to say about this game.
They've overcome a lot, and I think that tonight they're going to show exactly what they're made of, and we're going to pull this win out.
I'm hoping that the team can actually get it together and win. I mean, it's always up and down. I've been a Kings fan for 40 years, and we just never seem to get a break when it comes time for the playoffs. So I'm kind of hoping that they'll do it.
Since Doug took over, I think we have a winning record. So, yeah, I think we're doing pretty good tonight.
And even with this difficult season, there is still hope remaining in the kingdom. So back out here live, as you take a look at, more and more fans are starting to get into the Golden One Center. This is a sold out game. So we're just hoping that the Kings can win this game and then advance to the next play-in, and hopefully they can light the beam. Reporting live from the Golden One Center, Garshpal Sangha, ABC 10.
All right, Garshpal, thank you so much. And we know businesses are also hoping the Kings can keep the season going. The bigger the stakes of the game, the bigger the crowds.
We're expecting a huge crowd. It's a win-or-go-home game for the Kings, so it's going to be one of the biggest games of the year.
Hoping for another postseason push and another beam lit in the sky. And the Kings were in this exact same position about a year ago against the Golden State Warriors. ABC 10's Kevin John breaks down the high-stakes game.
Welcome inside of Golden One Center. That's right. We're about 30 minutes away from tip-off as the Sacramento Kings are set to host the Dallas Mavericks in the play-in tournament. And I know you guys can't hear it right now because fans are just kind of slowly trickling in, but this place is going to be absolutely deafening tonight. It may break decibel levels. As a matter of fact, I may not be able to hear after tonight's game, but that's okay. Let's talk about the game a little bit. The Kings welcome in the Dallas Mavericks, a team that the Kings have beaten 3 times this season. Matter of fact, that's the 3 times that they played this season. So the Kings have yet to lose against this team. However, the Kings have also yet to face this team with Anthony Davis, one of the top 75 players in NBA history. He's not only a rim protector, but he's very versatile and can stretch the floor. So, of course, that's going to be a problem for the Kings. With that being said, the Sacramento Kings have scored over 120 points 2 of the 3 times they played the Mavericks this season. So the Kings have no problem getting buckets. Whatever the case is, the Kings are 4.5-point favorites for tonight's game. So there's a solid chance, one may say, that the Kings will be able to light the beam tonight. And one of the biggest reasons they'll probably be able to light the beam tonight is because every fan in attendance will be receiving this Feel the Roar t-shirt right here. All the fans are going to be wearing them, waving them, and all that other good stuff. So Of course, home court advantage is huge here in Sacramento. Of course, I'll have a full recap of this game at 11 o'clock tonight right here on ABC 10. At Golden One Center, Kevin John, ABC 10 Sports.
For more Kings coverage, check out our Locked on Kings show on our ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. It's under the sports section. The ABC 10 Plus app is completely free to download to your TV. All right, still ahead on To the Point. California is suing the Trump administration, this time over tariffs, what the state is demanding and how the White House is responding.
One more cooler day with highs in the low 70s, but we're back near 80 for the Easter weekend, above average. I'll break down the forecast coming up.
Plus, a Solano County refinery is closing its doors, what it could mean for hundreds of workers and gas production in the state. Welcome back in. We're taking another live look over Golden One Center. Fans are getting ready to cheer on the Kings as they play the Mavericks in the first play-in game. But let's get over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef with your forecast. How are things kind of looking tonight? It's a little bit cooler today.
Definitely cooler, even cooler than yesterday. Made it to 73 downtown yesterday. We only topped out at 71. Today, 74 was the high in in Stockton. 73 was the high in Modesto. 61 Placerville today, 64 Truckee, and 65 in South Lake Tahoe. A little below average for the time of year in the Valley. Currently 62 in Sacramento, 60 in Elk Grove, 66 Stockton, 70 in Modesto, 59 Fairfield, 75 in Colusa. We've got a bit of a breeze going out there, especially through the Delta right now. Sustained winds 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts closer to 35 miles per hour out near Vacaville. Fairfield, gusts close to 25 in Sacramento and Marysville. So you probably want a light jacket with you if you are headed to the game or even just a doco, maybe to a watch party, something along those lines. We're going to be in the low 50s by the time we get towards 10 o'clock when we're thinking about lighting that beam. I'll say when we are lighting the beam, right? We're going to speak it into existence here. 50 in Sacramento on Thursday morning, 48 Stockton, 49 in Modesto, 51 Marysville, 50 in Colusa, 45 Jackson, 45 Placerville. We're going to have some marine stratus in the valley to start Thursday morning, but by Thursday afternoon, I expect clearing skies. 72 once again, so in the low 70s on Thursday, 71 Stockton, 72 in Modesto, 60s in the foothills, 50s in the high country. You'll see those clouds starting to build in as we go into the early morning hours. There they are, but as we work towards the afternoon, we see skies clear again, looking at sunny skies for Thursday afternoon and less chance of rain up in the Sierra for tomorrow. By the time we get towards the holiday weekend, temperature is going to be in the mid-70s in the foothills, in the low 60s up in the Sierra. Again, that's for Easter Sunday. Here in the valley, we're going to be looking at low 80s for Easter Sunday. Temperatures peak on Monday before slowly cooling back towards the mid-70s. Alex?
All right, next on To the Point, California is suing President Trump over his sweeping tariffs, why leaders say he's exceeding his authority, and how the White House is responding. Plus, why adopting a pet in California could soon come with a tax break. California is taking the Trump administration to court over tariffs. The governor and attorney general filed the lawsuit this morning in federal court, making California the first state to do so. They are asking a judge to declare President Trump's tariffs unlawful and void. ABC 10's Becca Habegger has been poring over the lawsuit and talking with Democrats and Republicans alike. She joins us now in studio with more.
You know, Alex, Governor Gavin Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta say President Trump's tariffs on California's three largest trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and China, plus other countries all over the world, will hurt California businesses and families. Meanwhile, Republicans say this short-term pain will lead the state and nation to a stronger middle class.
Global markets rely on us to provide almonds, and we rely on their consumption.
Christine Gamberly is a Central Valley almond grower just south of Turlock. She says Trump's tariffs and the uncertainty they're causing will hurt her family business.
We rely on those same global markets to supply us with materials we need to build farm equipment, irrigation systems, and fertilize fields. Will we be able to access what we need to grow our crops? And if so, will we even be able to afford it?
California is the United States' top agricultural exporter and grows about 3/4 of the world's almonds. Tariffs on imports mean the goods produced in other countries, from clothing and cars to food, will become more expensive for California consumers. And countries that hit back on America's tariffs with additional tariffs of their own make exporting any product from California, like almonds, more expensive.
Almonds you see around us, export dependent. Pistachios, export dependent. Dairy, export dependent.
Governor Gavin Newsom and State Attorney General Rob Bonta joined Kemperly on her farm Wednesday, saying imposing tariffs is the responsibility of Congress, not the president, through executive orders.
Where the hell is Congress? Where the hell is Speaker Johnson? Do your job.
Trump has had to resort to creating bogus national emergencies that defy reason.
Trump has said unfair trade deficits and policies with other countries constitute a threat to America, and therefore invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose tariffs. California's newly filed lawsuit says this is unlawful, that the act doesn't allow for a president to do that.
I'm not a big proponent of tariffs. But we do need to make sure that our goods and services can go to other countries without being tariffed. And if we want a true free market economy, I think Trump is doing exactly what's needed to help grow our economy and help grow our middle class in the United States.
Republican State Senator Tony Strickland says Trump's strategy is playing out, with dozens of international leaders coming to the bargaining table with Trump.
We have 75 countries that want to renegotiate their tariffs. I think this economy is going to explode. Give us a few months.
In a statement to ABC News, a White House spokesperson said instead of focusing on California's rampant crime, homelessness, and unaffordability, Gavin Newsom is spending his time trying to block President Trump's historic efforts to finally address the national emergency of our country's persistent goods trade deficits.
So how is the state paying for all this legal action? Well, remember earlier this year, state lawmakers approved setting aside $25 million for the California Department of Justice to fight legal battles against the Trump administration, and another $25 million for legal groups to defend immigrants facing possible deportation. Now, the AG's office said during Trump's first term, California sued the federal government 122 times, and today's lawsuit marks the state's 15th this term.
Thank you so much. Cal Chamber, who represents 1/4 of the private sector jobs in California, put out a statement today saying, in part, Cal Chamber has long supported a free trade agenda that fosters economic growth and job creation. Additional tariffs will only further exacerbate the affordability crisis that millions are facing and will have dire consequences on the California economy. There are new concerns tonight about how tariffs are impacting California's ports. The Port of Long Beach in Southern California is the nation's largest container port. With Trump's tariffs, the port CEO says the port expects a 20% reduction in volume for the second half of the year.
Our concerns about reduction, I think, are going to really start being elevated as we move towards May. Our staff has now recorded 17 canceled sailings from the international carriers.
Port workers are also concerned about the loss of jobs due to the reduction of ships. The stock market continues to take a hit over the tariffs, all three major indexes finishing in the red today. It comes as there's new warnings from the Federal Reserve.
The closing bell on Wall Street today ringing in new losses. The Dow ending the day down more than 2%. The plunge attributed to the Federal Reserve Chairman's new warning today about President Trump's sweeping tariff policy.
Tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation.
Even before Powell spoke, tech stocks started dipping after the Trump administration put up new roadblocks for giant chip maker NVIDIA to export to China. The company saying it will lose $5.5 billion. Some imports coming into the U.S. from China, like electric vehicles and syringes, are now facing a hefty 245% tariff. The White House says there were tariff talks today between President Trump and representatives from Japan, America's fourth biggest trading partner.
In retaliation for the tariffs imposed by President Trump, Bloomberg reports that Beijing told Chinese airlines to stop buying parts from American companies. China says it will no longer accept deliveries of Boeing jets. Boeing is America's largest exporter by dollar value, with suppliers across all 50 states. In a surprise announcement today, Valero says that it's closing its facility in Benicia. The facility employs 400 workers in the small Solano County city and produces around 170,000 barrels of fuel per day. The company, in a statement today, saying the closing is due to high costs and strict environmental regulations in California. Leaders say discussions are underway about what comes next.
It is the newest refinery on the West Coast. It produces a significant amount of gasoline for the California market. I cannot foresee a possibility where that refinery just ceases operation altogether.
The company plans to close the facility completely by the end of April 2026. The state's Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones is warning Californians to brace for even higher gas prices, fuel shortages, and job losses, while Governor Newsom said today he is in the process of addressing any anxiety that may be created or any market disruption by that announcement. Consumer advocacy group Consumer Watchdog has filed a lawsuit to block insurers from charging Californians for costs associated with the deadly Los Angeles wildfires. California's Insurance Commission in February ordered insurers doing business in the state to provide $1 billion to the FAIR Plan to help pay out claims related to those fires. The lawsuit alleges Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara overstepped his authority and violated state laws for allowing for such cost shifting without going through the proper process. The suit is asking the court to block Lara from approving the request. The Department of Insurance says this lawsuit could make California's insurance crisis worse. The 2025 commercial salmon fishing season in California will be closed for a third year. Sport fishing will also be restricted to only a few days. Fishing regulators say this is due to dwindling numbers of fish, including a predicted low number of fall-run Chinook salmon, also known as king salmon, in the Sacramento River. Well, a California lawmaker is looking to make it easier to bring home a pet from an animal shelter. Assembly Bill 691 would offer people up to $250 tax credit to cover adoption fees for a pet from a qualified shelter and additional up to $500 credit for pet medical expenses needed within the first year of ownership. The lawmaker who introduced it says it was brought up by constituents in hopes of alleviating shelter overcrowding.
There's been efforts underway to make all shelters no-kill shelters in the state of California. It's really something that hasn't been fully worked out and fully vetted yet. And so we wanted to try and come up with something that was a little bit more immediate that could help people right away.
The proposal would only allow taxpayers to claim the credit once in their lifetime, and the bill will have its first hearing in an assembly committee next week. All right, stay with us. We're back right after this quick break with what we're working on for tomorrow. Welcome back in. Here's another live look over Golden One Center tonight. Fans getting ready to cheer on the Kings as they play the Mavericks in the first play-in game. Tip-off just minutes away. Coming up at 7 o'clock, of course, we'll have the latest details tonight at Late News Tonight at 11. All right, I want to show you what we're working on for tomorrow, though, because for decades, Californians have been encouraged to go solar. Families have been offered incentives and programs. But now the state's public utility regulator is proposing another cut to solar credits. The proposal follows an executive order from Governor Newsom calling on the CPUC to address rising electricity costs.
What does this signal to the customers, and what impact could it have on the future of solar in California?
Already the solar industry is hurting because of the changes that the PUC's made in the last 2 years. But this will be the final stake in the heart of the solar industry.
All right, coming up on To the Point tomorrow, why utilities say the cuts are needed. Solar advocates are saying they could be the final blow to rooftop solar in California. It is a story that you definitely do not want to miss. As always, thank you so much for joining us on the show. If you have something that you think me and the team should be looking into, you already know what to do. You can email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And if you're looking for any of our stories, I know we cover a lot, you can always stream us for free on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. That is completely free to download straight to your TV. As always, thank you for joining us. We'll see you later, and go Kings like that beam.